So, and speaking of, I guess, ego and pride, we'll get back. I want to know one of your best military stories. One of the lessons you learned, best lessons you learned in the military. I know we talked about some things before we got started, and some of the things we probably don't want to disclose.
Yeah,
and like most veterans, we have great stories that we want to protect names of people and stuff like that. But I think the lessons and the stories, and it comes back to what you said. I mean, you have to be able to tell your story and tell it well.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you have plenty of great stories, but tell us one where you learned quite a bit about leadership, or about strategic thinking, or about being a CEO.
Well, there's one. When I was in the Navy, the first deployment we made was the first ship to go circumnavigate around the world with females on it. It was back in 1988. So we're ditch to ditch, shell back, all that cool stuff that you get to do in the Navy. And I was assigned as the captain's protocol officer, press writer, PR person, journalist, the whole kit and caboodle, ran the TV station, did all of it. And what was unique about that is we got to go into every foreign port, and this is before the internet, so it wasn't like you could just Google something. It didn't exist back then. We had to train the captain on how to sit at the table and eat with the dignitaries in the places he was going to. And we pulled into Muscat, Oman, and it was the first time a Navy ship with females on was allowed to pull in there. And so the culture shock for me, even though I studied it and I was helping the captain, I neglected to realize the female aspect of it. So what I learned from leadership is my commanding officer recognized what could be a potential problem and went and solved it. But I was the potential problem for the first time ever going anywhere. Because we were going to meet the Sultan at his palace for a dinner, and they said, wear your dress whites. Well, for a woman in the Navy at that time, the dress whites was a short sleeve shirt, a skirt that went to your knee, stockings, high heel pumps, a V-neck, and your cover.
This was around Top Gun time, right?
Yeah, it was totally Top Gun time.
Yeah, we know they
totally
look like
right
the
then
Navy.
there. Looked just like that.
Okay.
Right. So I got off the ship, and Shore Patrol came up and surrounded me. And I thought I'd done something wrong, or what. They actually marched with me, one in front, one on each side, and one behind me, to get me to where the commanding officer was as an escort. And I'm like, why are you guys doing this? It's just like a waste. I can walk from here to there. And the commanding officer just looked at me. He's like, follow orders. And I'm like, okay. He goes, there's a reason for orders, and there's a reason. Sometimes you can't see what you can't see, so you have to trust. So that moment is a piece I get goosebumps thinking about. You have to trust those people you have in positions around you to see what you can't see. And when you have a blind spot as a CEO, you better figure that out. And that blind spot for me was, they marched me into the palace to have dinner with the commanding officer and the Sultan of Oman. And it was a beautiful palace. And we walked past a room where all the women were in burqas and all cloaked up and all in one room off to the side. And then that's when I realized, oh my God, I'm wearing a skirt that goes to my knees and short sleeves, and I'm exposed. And I didn't understand that until that moment. I was 23 years old, and for me, learning that sometimes you have a blind spot is the most critical thing you can understand as a CEO, and to trust those around you to see it for you and help you learn.
And